Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my fucking YouTube channel. My name is NapesCape. You guys might know me from my Stoner Talk podcast YouTube channel that I record with myself and Brian. And normally we just drink, smoke, and chill, talk about life, talk about art, and sometimes fanboy about Marvel and DC. And I also make music. I released an album called Zero Likes, Zero Plays, Zero Followers, out now on all streaming platforms, YouTube Music, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to music. And I also released an album called Refined Napescape and Girly Pop. The official version can only be found on my Stoner Talk podcast YouTube channel. The unofficial version is out now on all streaming platforms, but I would strongly recommend listening to this version. And today I'm going to be talking about the new Fantastic Four movie that came out in the newest edition of the MCU. And I'm going to be telling you why I think it's gay, right? So the movie opens up with Reed Richards and Sue Storm in the restroom, and Sue's telling Reed Richards that she's pregnant, right? And the two of them celebrate their little pregnancy, and then immediately after that, the movie cuts to a montage scene, right? And it basically details that the first 4 years of the Fantastic Four's journey, they kind of became the protectors of this earth and the city, and it kind of showcases their powers a little bit. And then after this scene, we kind of get that scene that's directly from the trailer. It's the scene where Sue Storm and Reed Richards are telling the Fantastic Four that they're pregnant. And then they kind of celebrate a little bit. And then after that scene, there's another little mini montage about the Fantastic Four being the protectors of the city. And then we cut to Reed Richards and Johnny Storm testing some teleportation device that Reed Richards is creating. And then after that, we get the power outage, right? So because it consumes up too much power. And then Sue Storm's telling Reed Richards about Franklin Richards. And it's kind of a cool scene where she's showing him using her powers. And then we get Ben Grimm rizzing up some school teacher. And then after this scene, we get the Fantastic Four gathered up. And Reed Richards is kind of like telling them that, hey, yo, I gathered up all the police and I'm gathering up all the criminals in the city. And then we get that heralding scene. I herald his beginning, I herald his end, I herald Galactus, right? And then after that, we get the Silver Surfette talking to Johnny Storm, and she tells him something in her language, and then kicks him off his board, and then Johnny Storm's telling the rest of the Fantastic Four that, yo, she was telling me something, and they're like, yeah, Johnny, we really don't care. So then after that is another little mini montage of the Fantastic Four, how they got their powers, and they're the protectors of the city and why they're so great. So they end up pulling up to Galactus' ship in deep space, and then the Silver Surfette pulls up on them and then brings them to Galactus, right? And it's kind of a cool scene where we get to see Galactus. He's actually pretty badass, and he's talking to the Fantastic Four. He seems super menacing. I actually like Galactus, this portrayal of him. And then after that, we get this kind of a cool scene where the Silver Surfette is trying to grab Franklin Richards from the womb, and then they jump into hyperspace, or they warp or whatever, and they get away. But then the Silver Surfette ends up chasing them, and then they kind of trick her into thinking they got swallowed into a black hole. And it's actually a cool scene where they showcase the Silver Surfette's powers, right? Where she's like falls into the black hole, but she's still able to kind of get away. And as she's falling into the black hole, she sees the Fantastic Four getting away from her, right? So they get away successfully, and then Sue Storm gives birth to Franklin Richards, right, in deep space. And then after that, there's another freaking montage when they get back to Earth about, when Earth learns that Sue Storm and the Fantastic Four didn't want to give up Franklin. So there's like unrest all over the world as the world prepares for Galactus. And then it kind of showcases like the Sue Storm, right? She's talking to the world about her family and Franklin Richards. Kind of another little mini montage scene, right? And then all of a sudden, the whole world is convinced that Franklin Richards is actually cool. And then there's another montage scene where Reed Richards is explaining his plan that he's gonna teleport the entire Earth using a bunch of like satellite antennas around the world. And then as the whole world is like getting ready for the plan, they're preparing. All of a sudden, right, they start getting destroyed, and we see the Silver Surfette has pulled up to Earth, right? And she's destroying each of these like satellite antenna things, right? And then there's like a scene where Johnny Storm chases her through the city, and he starts playing these like audio like reels, I guess. And then he figures out her whole backstory, right? And then he causes her to like rethink her whole life. And then after that, we get the gayest fucking scene of the whole movie, right? that shit was the fucking gayest shit I ever seen, right? So then there's like another little mini montage where the Fantastic Four are getting ready for their impending doom with the Galactus, right? So then Galactus pulls up. This scene actually is like pretty sick. I like the way Galactus looks. Like I like the way he showcased in this movie. Actually, this is way better than that freaking black hole from the 2008 or whatever Fantastic Four, right? Rise of the Silver Surfer. So then he's showcasing his power cosmic, and he immediately locates Franklin Richard in the middle of the city. So he's pulling up, but then right before he walks into the last antenna that they're gonna use to teleport him away, he's obviously realizes that wait, Franklin Richards isn't in the crib anymore, right? So he's not gonna just step into the trap. But then he uses his power cosmic again, and he kind of realizes oh no, Franklin Richards is in the Baxter building all the way across the city, right? So then as he's walking towards Franklin Richards, he ends up actually going to the building and then grabbing him from the building, destroying it. Sue Storm ends up using her freaking powers. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Before that, he ends up killing or badly damaging 3 of the 4 members of the Fantastic Four. I'm sorry, in 10 seconds, right? Where he stretches Reed to his limit, which is 3 feet in each direction, and then Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm kamikaze into his face, doing no damage. Then Sue Storm pulls up on Galactus, right, using her powers. Somehow for 30 minutes, she's just pushing him back, grunting like a freaking autistic baby seal being badly clubbed to death, right? Making some weird ass grunting noises. And then there's this weird scene where she fucking... Yeah, and then she fucking dies. Literally after that weird scream, primal grunt she does. But then it doesn't even work. But then in the last moment, the Silver Surfette comes flying in, right? Having a change of heart and helps save the day and defeats Galactus, right? And then after that, they put baby Franklin Richards on Sue Storm. And then she's revived using power cosmic that the Franklin Richards possesses, right? And then after that is the last scene where they're doing some sort of interview or something like that. And then the guy's about to, or Ted Gilbert's about to reveal them, but then they're gone because they got called. And then that gay scene after that where they're where they're trying to figure out the stroller. And then that's pretty much it. That's the whole movie. So pretty much something that Brian always says is if you're going to talk about something, critique it, you kind of got to start with the good and then go with the bad, right? So I want to start with things that I actually did like about the movie. I like the futuristic, retro aspect kind of vibe of it, I guess. People are kind of saying it's almost like the Jetsons or almost like a Futurama maybe. And it's pretty sick. I actually like that. It's like that almost like a 1930s, 1940s, 50s, 60s, right? 70s, 80s, 90s, right? That kind of cool vibe, but it's also futuristic with a lot of futuristic tech. So that was actually pretty cool. I like that. I feel like the two true stars of the entire movie were probably Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm. I feel out of the entire cast, they were probably the most enjoyable. I really like every time they were on the screen, they have a good chemistry together. And honestly, I wanted to see more of Ben Grimm's story develop. They kind of teased at some romance. I actually wanted to see more of that. I was actually interested in that. And then I kind of also did like Galactus, right? He looked pretty sick. He looked pretty menacing. Obviously way better than the freaking black hole that we got in the 2008 version of the Fantastic Four, right? And now onto why I think this movie is gay, right? So all the gayest things about this movie, I'm about to just talk about them right now, right? So I thought all the montages were gay, right? I feel like because they decided to skip a lot of the beginning plots, or the first 4 years of their story, they kind of had to, rely on the montage aspect a little bit. Because it's kind of unfair to compare this, but with the original MCU, we got 3 Iron Man movies, 3 Captain America movies, 3 Thor movies, right? How many movies was Hulk in? And then we got the culmination of Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, which is that huge payoff after how many years. And in this movie, it kind of makes sense because it's the Fantastic Four, but because they skipped those 4 years, we kind of have to act like we already know these Fantastic Four, we are used to them, and we're we like them already and we've seen them on screen, but in reality it's not really like that, A huge problem that I think I have with this movie is fucking Pedro Pascal, right? Me, like a lot of other people, are having a little bit of Pedro Pascal fatigue, right? Where every movie and TV show you turn on or you watch, it's freaking Pedro Pascal, right? And then you kind of see him on all of his antics, right? With that trans sister stuff, and then the freaking dildo stuff and the anxiety bullshit. I feel like out of all of it, I think the weirdest stuff is that anxiety bullshit, you know? Like, I feel like myself and millions of other grown men we often experience anxiety. But for us, unlike Pedro Pascal, we have a certain thing called not being a bitch, right? You just gotta stop being a bitch and just get on with your day, you know? And I feel like maybe that's something that Pedro Pascal should try, right? Because unlike him, not all of us are rich, famous movie stars, right? And we don't have attractive coworkers to be around all the time, right? Like, imagine if I'm at work and I'm having some sort of anxiety attack, and I go up to the youngest and the hottest coworker that I have and just start grabbing her waist and I'm not letting you go. I'm not letting you go. You're not getting away from me. And that's actually what he said, right? There's like a video where he's holding Vanessa Kirby's hand and he's signing some sort of like thing or something, and he's telling her like, I'm not letting you go. You're not getting away from me. And he's holding her hand, and then they walk away holding hands, you know? So that's actually what he said. Like, imagine like, like, yo, bro, if I did that shit, I'd be in a fucking handcuffs in the back of a police car, dude. I'd be fucking being read my rights, bro. But fucking Pedro Pascal gets anxiety, bro. He's fucking handsy. It's no big deal, you know. Oh, he suffers from it. And obviously that's not going to affect the movie, but I'm just saying I hate Pedro Pascal, bro. There's like, dude, I could post 100 videos and of fucking, I sent Brian like 100 videos of fucking Pedro Pascal hate, bro. Okay, so another thing that I thought was gay about this movie was the fucking Silver Surfette, right? Because we all know the original Silver Surfer, Norin Rad, was kind of the same thing, right? Where he had a wife. Was the wife Shia LaBeouf? I don't know. Actually, I gotta probably look into that. Where he had like some sort of girlfriend or something, and then this planet was gonna be chosen by Galactus, but he chose to sacrifice himself in order to save his planet, becoming the Herald of Galactus, and then he would take Galactus to planets that were habited with people until he met the Fantastic Four, right? And then the Fantastic Four convinced him they convinced him to like change his ways and go take Galactus to planets that were uninhabited, right? So he kind of became a good guy. But then in this movie, we get the Shia LaBeouf version of a fucking Silver Surfer, right? So we get Silver Surfette. And honestly, I feel like it doesn't really change the story, but it's pretty fucking gay, dude. Like, no one asked for Silver Surfette. We all wanted Silver Surfer. And I think Silver Surfer is actually one of my favorite Marvel characters, because if you've ever read Thanos Wins, right? One of my favorite kind of like Marvel stories where Thanos is taken like millions of years into the future to the end of the universe, and he realizes that he won. He killed like everybody, the entire universe, and he's like the only one living. And then the only opponent he has left is the Silver Surfer, right? The worthy Silver Surfer who comes with the Annihilus wave, and he has Mjolnir, right? And he almost fucking smokes Thanos, like, but then he gets fucking, oh, whatever. But Silver Surfer is one of my favorite characters, right? And honestly, I feel like I finally want to see a good version. I mean, the version in 2008 was cool. I wanted to finally see an MCU version of Silver Surfer, but we get the fucking Silver Surfette, which is like a super unnecessary change. It's gay. No one asked for it. It's fucking stupid. I herald his beginning. I herald his end. I herald Galactus. That shit was gay, bro. No one asked for that. So yeah, Silver Surfette, gay. No one likes Silver Surfette. So something else that I thought was gay about the movie was Galactus. So I know I kind of said that I liked Galactus, right? But I felt like he was underutilized. Like, they didn't really show his powers or his abilities. Like, yeah, he has his brief showing of the power cosmic, where all he does is locate Franklin Richards. But it's like when Sue Storm's pushing him, what does he do? He doesn't do shit. Like, he's literally getting pushed back across like the entire city for like 30 minutes, not doing shit. Like, he's not able to defend himself. Like, I feel like Galactus should be able to just fucking, boom, snap his fingers, Sue's dead. He didn't even touch her, she's just dead, you know? Like, and the Silver Surfette obviously has a power cosmic too. They show the Silver Surfette escaping from a black hole, but Galactus can't fucking defend himself from Sue Storm. Like, what the fuck is this bullshit, dude? So I thought that was pretty dumb. I thought that was gay. And then I felt like they didn't really show him too. Like, they only show Galactus like briefly in the middle of the movie. And then like the last 30 minutes, right, he shows up. But then again, he doesn't even do anything. Gets his fucking ass kicked by Sue Storm. And then like when Sue Storm dies, it doesn't even work. Fucking Silver Surfer comes and fucking one hit, he's dead, right? He goes into that portal, he's gone, right? So yeah, every version we get of Galactus is kind of gay. This is like the least gay version of Galactus, but it was still kind of gay. So I don't like the way he was like done in this movie. I feel like they could have done him better, right? Another thing that I thought was fucking gay about this movie was the screaming shit, bro. I don't know what the fuck is going on with Hollywood and all this female screaming bullshit, right? We saw it in Superman with Hot Girl, Isabella Merced, doing that weird scream as she's flying through the hallway. And then we get Silver Surfer doing that weird scream after Johnny Storm's like telling her about the fucking, like her past, and he's showing her those audio reels. And then we get that weird scream that Vanessa Kirby does when she's about to sacrifice herself to stop Galactus, right? So I don't know what the hell that is, but it's really cringe. I don't like it. It's starting to become a trend and it's really weird. And Hollywood should stop. I have no idea what the hell like this is, but it's gotta stop. You guys gotta fucking stop, dude. Another thing that I thought was gay about this movie was I thought it was kind of slow, right? Like aside from the montages that were like time skips, kind of, right? Because it goes from like it goes 4 years into their origin story, and then it goes like a couple, I don't know. Actually, I don't even know. It's like a couple of days, right? I think the movie takes place over a couple of days. And then, or I don't know, maybe months? I have no idea. I actually have no idea. Maybe months because he built those antennas and shit, right? So maybe it takes place over a couple months. So it skips time. And then after that, the post-credit scene with fucking Doctor Doom and shit skips another 4 years, right? So it's just like, there's not that much action. It's mostly like talking and fucking hugging and montages. And yeah, like the Fantastic Four is so great. They're the protectors of this world. They're this and that. And then there's not that much action. It's pretty slow. A lot of talking. So I felt like that was pretty gay. I'm not asking for more action or like a straight slugfest or anything like that. But I feel like it could have been handled a little bit better, right? And another thing that I kind of thought was gay about this movie. Wait, hold on. Give me a second. Let me fucking lubricate my pipes, right? Another thing that I thought was kind of gay about this movie was kind of like a trend with the Superman movie, right? This movie skips 4 years into the Fantastic Four's journey, right? And I feel like with Superman and the Fantastic Four, it kind of makes sense because you can't really call yourself a DC fan without knowing the origins of Superman. And likewise, you can't call yourself a Marvel fan without knowing the origins of the Fantastic Four. But I mean, no. It's justified that, you know, we kind of get those skips because how many Supermans have we gotten and how many Fantastic Fours have we gotten, and we've already seen the origin story and coming together. So it makes sense to kind of skip the origin story, but I'm not really a huge fan of that trend, right? Because what if we start getting heroes that we're not familiar with, right? Instead of getting that slow, you know, coming together of the team, coming of age story, we're getting just straight fucking, okay, 5 years into their present, like 5 years into their story, here we are, this is where the story's starting, right? So kind of makes sense to skip the origin story of the Fantastic Four and the Superman, but I'm not really liking that trend. It's kind of weird that it happened again, right? Kind of like a trend with Superman and the Fantastic Four. They both skipped years into the hero story. Not really a huge fan of that. I thought that was gay, right? And then one of the last things that I thought was gay about this movie, actually I always thought it was kind of gay, was Franklin Richards. I'm honestly not a huge fan of Franklin Richards, only because like every single Marvel story he's in, it's like we have Iron Man, we have Thor, we have Hulk, and then we have Franklin Richards. He's God. He can do everything. He's strong. He's the strongest one. And then Valeria Richards. Oh yeah, she's fucking God too. Yeah, they're both. Yeah, they're stronger than everybody combined. They'll kill everybody. You know. And it's like it's fucking retarded, bro. Like in the Secret Wars story, right? We get what was it called? After the universe was destroyed, Franklin Richards fucking creates new universes, and then Valeria Richards uses her powers to like form the universe, and Franklin creates it, and then Reed Richards uses his power to launch it into the universe to different sections, and then they recreate the multiverse. And there's that gay scene where it's like Franklin Richards, and for some reason they kind of like gave him a like super distinct bulge, right? It's super weird. And I always thought that was kind of gay. I've never been like a fan of Franklin Richards. He's always like that ultimate MacGuffin, right? So maybe it's done right if he stays a baby, but he's not gonna stay a baby forever, right? And then there's like stories where like Franklin Richards is an adult, and then Galactus is his fucking pet, his fucking bitch, his gimp, his fucking sex slave, right? So it's pretty stupid. There's like a lot of, I mean, I don't know. I've never been a fan of Franklin Richards, right? And I mean, his story in this movie, he was cool, right? But I don't know. I've never been a fan of Franklin Richards. I thought Franklin Richards was gay. Kind of like Mr. Terrific. I've never been a fan of Mr. Terrific. I gotta get more into that. I actually gotta do a review of Superman, so I'm gonna do one soon. But that's pretty much what I thought about the Fantastic Four movie. I thought it was kind of gay because of those reasons. I didn't really like it, to be honest. A lot of people were saying that they thought it was good. You know, Critical Drinker, you know, one of my heroes. He said he thought it was good. Fucking Nerdrotic and Overlord DVD, they said they thought it was good. Actually, I don't remember. I think so, right? And then I'm like, I was kind of heartbroken about that, bro. Because when I saw the movie, I didn't really, I don't know. Out of the 3 Marvel movies that came out this year, I think the Thunderbolts is probably the best one, right? Because Black in America, Brave New Minority, that movie was fucking gay. What's this movie? What's it called? I'm already forgetting. The Fantastic Four, right? First Steps. That movie was pretty gay. And then Thunderbolts, that movie was okay compared to all 3 of them. And then if I had to compare Thunderbolts to Superman, I think Superman was probably better than Thunderbolts, right? So I think Superman was better than all 3 of the Marvel movies that came out. All these 3 Marvel movies are pretty gay, but the Thunderbolts was the least gay of them all, right? So that's pretty much all I have to say about the movie and then about the MCU going forward, I guess. I'm probably going to do a review of the fucking Thunderbolts and a review of Black in America. And I might even do a review of Iron Thief. So who knows? Stick around for that. Probably have to do a review of Superman. And I still got to do that review of Pineapple Express that I promised Brian that I would make, right? So hopefully I get around to that. In the meantime, you know, check out the Stoner Talk podcast with myself and Brian. Again, that we normally just smoke, drink, chill. And then also make sure you check out my music under NapesCape, yeah. Right? 0 likes, 0 plays, 0 followers. Out now on all streaming platforms. And Refine, NapesCape, and Growly Pop. Official version only out on my Stoner Talk podcast YouTube channel. So once again, my name is NapesCape. And if you made it this far, you're a fucking bitch. Peace out, bitch.